Hi guys, Brad here from Red Pines. Although today we're in my daughter's garage because fall is in the air, the cooler temperatures are settling in, it's my favorite time of the year. I thought today what we would do is talk about pressure canning. A lot of people are collecting their harvest, canning what they've grown, or maybe they've just got a good deal at the grocery store and they want to set some food aside for the winter. Usually pressure canner is what they use. There is a water canner. We'll talk about that in another video. Today we're going to go over the fear of the pressure canner. We're going to go over the parts, why there has been such a fear of pressure canners, which I'll include myself in that because when I bought a pressure canner years ago, I was under the impression if I just set it on my stove, my entire condo would just blow up. Not the case. We're going to go over how you can get your family, your kids involved with the process of your recipes, not with the pressure canner at this point. And then we're going to show you how the pressure canner works. Because today, my son-in-law is making his world-renowned spaghetti sauce, known all over the world. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it is awesome spaghetti sauce. And we're going to show you how we do that. What I'd like to do first is kind of introduce you to the pressure canner, the parts of the pressure canner, and where the fear of the pressure canner comes from. But before I do any of that, please, I want to stress this. If you buy a pressure canner or you're new at this, make sure you read the instruction booklet and follow all safety instructions. It's like anything else. If you're safe with it, you're never going to have an issue with it. It's only when you do things you're not supposed to, you're going to run into some major problems. So basically what a pressure canner is just that. It's a big pot, the lid locks on, and pressure builds up inside. Okay? Now this lid, unlike a lot of the old lids, and this is where the fear comes in, on some of the old pressure canners from the 50s and before, they only had one safety feature on it. Now on this one, we have a pressure release right here, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Okay? And then we have the pressure regulator. This part is weighted and it goes over a valve stem and steam would actually come out of there. And then in the back here, this little rubber piece of rubber is another safety feature. So there are actually 3 spots where steam can be released from. In the old pots, there were often only one steam valve, and that steam valve sometimes would get clogged. And once it got clogged, there was no way to release the steam out of the pot. So therefore, people would make moves like take the lid off and the lid would go through the roof. And then scalding water would come out. The jars inside would blow up. That's where problems would lie. But starting in the 70s, they started putting more of these safety features on. On top of that, this lid, actually, it goes on there really nice. It's a whole locking device underneath, okay? It's a nice locking device underneath. This is what it looks like. You have your rubber seal here, and that's something you actually want to clean after every use because you want to make sure that your rubber seal is good. And if it ever wears out, you can always buy another rubber seal, okay? And my pressure regulator fell inside. And then this one just goes on, shows you where to line the arrow up, and then it just literally screws on, and then it's on there nice and tight. Now what do you use a pressure canner for? Basically all your foods that have low acid. So your vegetables, your meats, and fish, all of those have to be processed in a pressure canner. On the stove, water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. But that's not hot enough to get rid of the microorganisms that can cause botulism and make your food bad. The pressure canner, it processes your food at 240 degrees at 10 pounds of pressure. Now, you know how much pressure would be built up in here because you do have a pressure regulator on here as well. So a lot of your things, like today I mentioned we're going to be doing spaghetti sauce, but we're going to be adding like homegrown peppers and some vegetables to it, so we're definitely using the pressure canner. and it's probably just safe to do it that way, especially if you use meat. So what I want to do at this point is I want to show you the process of how you go about canning.
All right, we're gonna get some peppers for the spaghetti sauce out of the garden. These here are bullnose peppers.
Look it.
Yep, look at this. You gotta just look. Pull them up. Let me show you. Here, look at. Just go like this. See, if you just pick them up, they come off. Try this one up here. Just lift it up, real gentle, and pull. Put it in the basket. Okay, Finn. Now we gotta get the other ones. Look at all these.
Yeah,
All right, now these are the Italian peppers. They got a little bit of spice to them. We had a storm and this one decided it was gonna lay down. Okay, here. This up, pull up. Up. All right. Let's see, can we count how many we have of each? Here, let's look at this one we got. You count.
Okay, I'm gonna count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right, how many do we have here?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We need one more. All right, now we got even ones. So we have enough for the sauce.
All right, so my son-in-law made his world famous spaghetti sauce. We put 4 quarts in a pressure canner. And I want to bring you back once I put the lid on and pressure starts to build up, so I can show you what happens at that point. Right now, there's about 3/4 of an inch of water at the bottom, and that's all you need for a pressure canner. There's actually a fill line, which you can actually see on the left-hand side. Okay, so what just happened was that little valve in the front was just wiggling, making all kinds of noise, but now there's enough pressure that built up inside that it is permanently in an up position. And if you look at the gauge is just now starting to build up a little bit of pressure. Okay, so the pressure canner now is at 10 pounds of pressure, and I set the timer for 25. Okay, so spaghetti sauce is done. The pressure gauge has been down to 0 for about 15 minutes. The pressure valve in the front here is loose, so I know that even though it's hot, I know that there's not pressure in there. I can take the pressure regulator off and no steam is coming out of there, so it should be pretty safe to open at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and open it, and all I do is I just turn this like this, and I lift the lid off. I'm going to move the lid over here, and you're going to see the 4 quarts of spaghetti sauce. Now I'm going to leave them in there for about another 15 minutes so that these cans can adjust to the outside air. And in about 15 minutes, I'll take them out, set them down, and tomorrow morning, we'll just go ahead and store them. So, anyways, that's pretty much it. If any of you have any questions about pressure canning, even about the sterilization of the jars, which I didn't go over because it wasn't so much a video about how to can as it was about the pressure canner, feel free to post questions, or if you want me to, let me know. I'll do a video on it. That's easy enough to do. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you got something out of this, and hopefully you'll be doing some pressure canning sometime soon. Anyways, thank you. Please feel free to like and subscribe to this channel. And again, any questions, concerns, feel free to post them. Thanks a lot.
So I have a question, because I'm more of a modern gadget gal, and I have my Instapot inside, and I use it for everything because it functions as pretty much everything. But some of the bigger Instapots say that they can be used as pressure canners as well. Do you know anything about that for the viewers, or what would your take be on that?
You know, I actually own one. I just bought one this year. I bought an Instapot for my property up north. And I've used it one time, and I made a pot roast, and it was amazing. I mean, they work amazing for cooking food. Now, as far as being a pressure canner, or working as a pressure canner, I'm just going to be real honest. I don't have any experience with that. I've heard they're not as good as pressure canners. They have that function. The couple people I have talked to about it said that it didn't work as well as a pressure canner. I personally would probably not use it as a pressure canner. You know,
And I think just to like add to it, I know there are people who may be doing this for a very long time, but I think the key is don't get complacent. Just because you know what you're doing doesn't mean you don't have to be as careful.
I agree, absolutely, because all it takes is, you know, you have 10 pounds of pressure in here, and you go and you take the pressure regulator off, the steam coming out of here is going to hurt you in the next.
Last question.
Yes.
Is that Mariah Carey in the background?
That is my Mariah Carey. She's my bartender back there. And that Mariah Carey has been with me for quite some time. Back when I used to be a band director in Chicago, we were doing a Mariah Carey song for Christmas. And we were having a lot of fun with it. And some students all pitched in and bought my cardboard stand-up of Mariah Carey. So when we would play it on stage, I set Mariah next to me as a special guest. And then afterwards, of course, all the gentlemen in the audience wanted to take a picture with her and pretend they were kissing Mariah on the cheek. And that was a lot of fun.
Boy.